Hello, welcome to What She's Thinking. I'm your host, Greg Schwartz, your coach for online dating. I'm asking a group of women questions on dating, sex, and other topics, all submitted by men like you. To get your questions answered, go to makeonlinedatingfun.com/questions. So here's the interview.
Hi, I'm Marissa.
Hi, I'm Miss X.
She's keeping it anonymous, and that's totally fine. What's your favorite way to have your breasts touched? And what about your nipples?
It depends on the type of month.
Cool question.
She says as she closes her jacket.
Time of the month. Okay, if it's gonna be like before my period, I'm telling you, it hurts so much. So like, don't touch them at all. But I will usually tell you hey, they hurt. Don't touch them. But nipples are good bitten usually, not like blood being drawn, but just firm, hard bites.
Interesting. Well, everyone
sometimes right, different moods. Yeah,
I agree. Different moods. Maybe I'm just not traumatized, but recently, 2 weeks ago, when I dated this man, and it was too rough. It was too rough with my breasts, and I have it's a little black and blue.
Oh my gosh!
Not black and blue.
That's not good.
It was. So, not all of it, just a very small spot on my...
bruise your boobs.
My boobs, yes.
That's hard to bruise that area, right?
It wasn't from a bite. I think it was more from squeezing and... But for me,
What?
I never had. Are you okay?
Yes, I'm okay. But okay.
Wow.
So I realized...
Is there a date number 2 in the future?
I still like him, but maybe that was more for territorial things to put. I don't know.
People don't know their own strength too. Sometimes maybe he just didn't know how hard he was doing that.
Yeah, but he's a little guy, so I don't think so. But
so how
he. So he's smaller, but okay. So I think it's so funny. We're strangers but friends here. It's so fun. But I realize I think I like my nipple licked softly.
Teasing is really nice.
Teasing and just the build up. There's a theme here for me.
The biting. I'm not talking about biting chunks. I'm talking like nibbling. I guess nibbling is a better word. When I say I like to be the nibbled is nibbled is different connotation than biting. Biting is you bite like a chicken leg,
By the way, we're
a carrot,
doing
yes, a carrot.
Weird nibbling and biting gestures.
Yeah, so nibble, and then I guess soft is always good. Building up, soft.
I just haven't had hard biting like that. So
no bruising. I think that's. I've never heard about that. That's not.
I've never heard about that yet.
So cool.
Okay.
Unless you like that kind of thing. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
There are times when I think bruises are kind of fun, souvenirs.
Yes.
Not often, but occasionally, my legs. I remember that,
Yes, I agree.
Women are a lot more freaky than they let on, I think, sometimes.
Yes.
In their mind.
Good to know, audience. Continuing that vein, what is your favorite way to have your clitoris touched? Probably sent in by the same person, but hey.
Get an anatomy
They're
book.
They're definitely curious. This got a lot of votes.
It to be very soft. It's if you touch the top of your eyelid very softly, like that, up and down, up and down. It
Here I'm playing with my eyelid.
Just softly rub it. The other way, but
You're
yes,
going left to right.
I know but you can do up and down, up and down.
I think it depends on my mood too, and it depends on if it's the first time or second time you're having sex. Because there's times when it's not always, but you know what I mean. It builds up, and you're sometimes it feels good to have it touched harder. But
yeah,
for the most part, I would say don't start there.
Yeah. Not too hard.
So
it's so weird.
Soft is what you're saying.
Yeah, start soft. Always soft.
I mean, it's it's in there, but then it's like a cat. You have to slowly
It's like a cat.
It's slowly come out.
Women are like cats.
Yes, women are like cats.
We are like cats.
It's yes. So it's slowly, up and down softly, and then maybe when it starts coming out and there's a lot more turn on, it gets harder. It gets harder, and then it wants to play with you, and then but you have to retract. You have to be
you have to win its love.
Yeah. And then you have to like maybe stop and then not focus on there, and then it'll come back out again. It's like that.
I just had a really funny visual. Just so you know.
Yeah. So there's a phrase, opposites attract. Has that been true in your good relationships?
Well,
Besides, obviously, in terms of gender.
no.
and things like that,
Well,
but
I know
personality.
that because not everyone has an opposite gender.
Right.
But for me, I think that it's opposites. We have a lot in common. Opposites. The big personality traits we have are opposites. Like he's very soothing to me and very like he grounds me and makes me feel very calm, which is not my natural state. So I guess having opposites in some ways, things that should be common are the areas of like, common where you find joy, your interests. Because if you have too many opposing interests, then you don't have fun together. But it's good to have two opposite type of personalities, I think, because they can complement each other. If they are the right kind of opposites they can complement, it can also, drive each other crazy. But I think that for the most part, opposites or something that's drastically different from how you are can work well in a good relationship.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's my professional opinion.
My
professional opinion on that.
On good relationships.
I have so much experience with that one. Not.
What about you?
Well, yeah, I think it depends. I mean, they say opposites attract, right? That's initial. And then they say that after a few months, opposites don't attract. Because then I think your values should be the same. Like, that's the harder part. Because then if it's not, then... Yeah, it's just hard to say. I don't like that question.
I think that's
not just
personality traits and types is more what that means. I think because opposites. Yeah, if I'm gonna go and date someone that's like a hardcore rapper, and really enjoys every night going to hear rap and being into the rap scene, I'm not gonna want to go and to do those things. I mean, it helps to have interests that are similar, and so you can enjoy the things you love together.
Yes. Because
we all like doing things we love, right?
Yeah.
So, but that doesn't mean that your personality have to be the same. Like you can be different ways of, whatever that personality test you take, the Enneagram, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You can have different types, but your interests and hobbies should be complementary. If you want to spend time together, yeah.
Yeah, and some people don't even want to spend time together, but they're together, so it's just so different. That's why it's, for me, I try not to pick too opposite, but it really, I mean, I like someone that's different, obviously.
It acts like a mirror, though. I think that when you pick someone that's really, really, really different from you, you can learn from them. I find that I've learned from my boyfriend and been like, God, you do this stuff really differently than I would ever do that, but it's really effective, and I try to assimilate it and try to grow from that. But also times it can act like a mirror because I can look at him and recognize how crazy I've been or how not rational I was behaving, because I can see how he is behaving so rational and making sense. I just find that it's good to have that kind of opposite to bounce off of yourself, so you can check in with yourself. Because sometimes if you date someone that's like you, then no one wants. You don't grow. You don't change. You don't get to be an evolved person. You just stay yourself and date yourself, and it's all great. But I mean, it's nice to be able to push yourself and to see yourself from someone else's viewpoint that's different from your own.
Yeah.
How do you like to be asked during sex what you want or what you like?
I don't get to ask that enough, and that kind of makes me angry, actually, because sometimes I get I don't always like the same way, and so my boyfriend does. I hope he doesn't listen to this ever, but so no, but it's okay. But I'm like, come on, let me get on top, and I have to literally beg or but I don't find that to be. And I wish that there was more willingness to ask what I liked, because in the past when I have said something about it, it got to a fight. It was a fight. It was oh no. That's a turn off now. You're telling me what to do. I'm like, no, I'm just telling you that didn't feel good or this felt good. Mm-hmm. So I think when women do that, maybe I said it the wrong way, because I phrase things in a harsh way sometimes without knowing it. And I think I said something in the way that was I was intending to be kind of nice and here's some pointers, but it came out in a way that was very off-putting, I think. So, guys, what was the question again?
Before we go back to that,
Yeah.
There's a thing that's really useful for both men and women, so I want to talk about it, which is when you want something, instead of just being like, hey, could you, kiss me harder or whatever, saying first, I really like something that you're doing. Like, it's the sandwich. So you put a positive first.
Okay, yeah, gotcha.
You say, I really love the way you smell today, or I love your perfume, whatever.
That makes sense.
And so for talking to a guy, it's probably going to be like, I love your stubble, or I love the way you're touching me. And then,
Treat. Yeah.
Could you touch me lighter, or could you touch me harder?
That really works more for guys?
It works for everyone.
Really? That's cool. I never thought. Oh,
and then the last piece is to actually then say, once they do it, so they start touching you softer or harder, whatever, then say, yeah, that's good. So you tell them, nice job, you did what I asked. So anyway, back to the question.
That's actually very helpful. So thank you. I learned something.
Yeah. So back to the question, how do you like to be asked during sex what you want or what you like?
Does that feel good? How does that feel? Or no, I guess I don't know. I think it's more I don't know. I wouldn't want to be asked too much during sex. I mean, so I'm not like doing like a lecture. It's not like, but it's but it is kind of like not like a class. You're not taking lessons, but it's like, I guess, just checking in. How does that feel? I don't know.
I think it's, and this is like the all-time question, I feel like, because, some of the things you even said, it triggered something in me that even made me a little mad because of in my last relationship. It was like I would try to say something and then he would just be offended or something.
Turned off immediately.
And this is the practice of a woman using a certain, either like not being too nice, right? And then not emasculating the man. And then also the man knowing that, like, being open and receptive to not being emasculated because they should be man enough to take, like, it's just so many different dynamics. Anyways, so I had to state that because it's just, there's like, just in my practice, I can't just sugarcoat stuff right now. I can't be like, hey, like, this is... So if I don't like something, I will say it. But in sex, it's very hard because you're in the moment, right? And you're like, I don't want to kill the moment. And then it's, how do you not kill the moment with... So this is one of my practices right now is just even talking about sex outside of sex, right? So I'm dating someone and we talk about sex outside of sex. Like we'll be cooking or something. And then I'm like, oh, by the way, this is how I liked that. And I'm like, oh, I really liked this that you did. Or, and then we just kind of go off and talk about sex outside of sex. And that's something I've always wanted, but it's very hard. It's like, it's very hard because I've had a lot of shame around it. But then when you meet someone that's very open too, and then you talk about it outside. For example, I like role playing, and it's very hard to role play. You go into sex and it's like, okay, now you're someone, and right, and so we talk about how to role play outside of sex, and then maybe we role play inside of sex.
It can be exciting too, right?
Yeah,
talking about it is not always doing it. But talking about it is like it's healthier. It builds the trust you need to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and there's a safety around it because it's actually. Like, when you get into the act of it, it's like, like you're doing a presentation. You can't, like, talk about the presentation while you're in the presentation. You should practice it before you're in the presentation.
Could you rate your sex drive compared to the average woman's?
I can't tell you what an average woman is because I don't know. I don't have enough girlfriends that I talk to about this to know the average. What I think is the average, so 1 to 10, 4 being average woman, I'd say I'm like an 8 or 9, 8.5.
That's a great question.
It's a great question, yeah.
So for you?
For me, from 1 to 10, I would say 10. Okay. Like, my sex drive is just really high right now. And but I feel like everyone's like that. If this isn't, it should be normal.
If you tap into your actual...
Yes, yeah, and if you're eating right, water and like all this stuff. Anyway,
exercise.
Sorry, my own opinion.
Working out is also part of it too. Exercise.
Yes, like just... it's part of health, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. On the bottom, food, water, shelter, sex as a human being. Like, those are the 4 needs you actually need as basic to survive.
So any last things you want to tell the guys listening?
I'm sorry. It must be so hard to deal with women all the time because we are impossible creatures. And we're wonderful creatures, but we're impossible creatures.
Yeah,
that's what I'll just say.
Yeah, to piggyback off of that, I think it's beautiful that a lot of these questions come from men, because it's just, I never understood that men, just in your DNA, you're born to like, just, you want to know so much about women, and like women just, it's just like I was telling you, Greg, my mission in life is like, I wish one of my missions is for men and women to understand each other. And a lot of it is like women have to actually say what they want. And it's a long journny for us to say what we want. And it's
understand the invisible,
right? It's
unsaid,
that
you can't.
And so, I'm grateful, I guess, to be even able to speak my voice in this time where like my parents never had good relationships, and in this time when we have so much access to information, it's amazing that men can ask these questions, and like regular women like me and Marissa can just answer them. So
I think it's pretty cool that the questions all seem pretty positive too, and they also seemed very focused on often how to please women.
Oh,
that's
always.
I'm optimistic about that. That's a good thing. A lot of times women assume, in the past I've assumed men don't think that way, but it's nice to hear that you guys do want to make us happy, because the happier women are, the easier your life usually gets, right?
It's the only thing. I mean, like, the phrase "happy life,"
happy wife, happy life.
Yeah,
it's
really a phrase.
It's really true.
I get it. Yeah, it's true. And I think that also, like you said, understanding, being able to understand, or at least in theory understand, because I don't think we're ever in practice going to be someone like a man and woman will never actually like relate on certain levels. Like, men's brains are very compartmentalized. Men can have a fight with a guy, duke it out, and then it's done. Boop, moved on. Women cannot. Our brains, it's all connected. Like, literally, it's a different type of brain. It's like a highway in there, and everything has something to do with another. It triggers this thing, and he thought about something that she said last week, and it's like this never-ending cycle, and they'll like hold grudges and do things that are kind of despicable to other people. But men can just set it off, duke it out, and it's done. And I think that's like a big difference, because that creates a lot of worry for women all the time about stuff, because we always think about things and we hold on to it, and men do not understand why they do that, and men just can let go, I think, a lot of times. And
not always, but
it seems like
definitely depends on the guy.
Oh yeah,
some can,
yes,
some
it's
can't.
very.
Yes.
It's
okay. Well then,
I think both sexes.
Just delete that section
yeah.
too.
It's great. Yeah,
cool.
I think.
Well, thank you for talking to these guys and answering their questions.
Yeah.
You're very welcome. I hope that we had some
we had fun,
interesting
and
answers for you.
Thanks for listening. To help other men find the podcast, please rate it on iTunes and write a review. Also, I'd love to hear your feedback. Which question did you find most helpful? Email me, greg@makeonlinedatingfun.com. And remember, to get your questions answered, go to makeonlinedatingfun.com/questions.
Meaning,
Okay.
I know. Are we allowed to say?
Yes.
Okay,
this
great.
is an explicitly rated podcast.
It's not a G-rated?
No.
I know, the kids, put them away.